So you not only were starring in this film, but you also produced it, which can be also a very amorphous role on a movie. So as a producer, what kind of stuff did you do to bring Margin Call to fruition, and did you help compile these guys in the film too?
Yeah, a little bit. I started about a year and a half before we actually shot the movie, working with the director, writer, J.C. Chandor, and my producing partners, and we just were like, okay, how do we do this?
Let's make a movie.
We had started the company about a year before, and this was the first film that we decided to get behind, and that's pretty much what we did say, actually. Like, let's figure this out. Having never done it before, there was a lot to learn, and there were a lot of hurdles to clear, and I'm enormously grateful that it came together the way it did. I could never have imagined that it would have.
Sure, and it's a very dense, dialogue-driven film. There's a lot of legalese. It's almost an alien language, and I'm kind of curious, did you need to learn how to speak that way, or was that kind of like, just give me the words and we'll spitfire back and forth and that sort of thing?
Well, I didn't really have to say anything. So.
You needed to look at graphs. How do you learn to look at a graph?
You just pretend. It's just pretend.
Sure. But did you walk away more informed by this world?
No.
Anyway? No.
No.
More confused.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
With an understanding of how things could go
A little more
crazy,
intrigued,
perhaps?
possibly, and curious. But I think it's impossible to teach yourself a world in a matter of 17 days, 19 days, whatever.
17 days we shot this movie.
And
so
you shot it all in one
say that with a
actual
weary-
office space, if I'm correct. And what was that experience like? I assume that it was just long days in this office building, hanging out.
It was really helpful, We were on the 42nd floor of a high-rise in One Penn Plaza,
Sure.
and the notion that between takes the actors didn't have to get on the elevator and go down 42nd floors or walk through the lobby and go outside to get in their trailer to sit around to wait for the next setup. It really did infuse the whole experience with a sense of ensemble and camaraderie that you don't often get on a movie set, and I think it because it was such a condensed period and experience for all of us, I think it was really beneficial that we were able to stay so closely connected.
Did everyone get their own desk?
We actually did. Our dressing rooms were actually offices.
We had the most Dilbert cartoons on them.
we were the. Yeah, I mean, it was great.
It was cool. That was definitely that was an example of necessity being a really exciting contributing factor to the experience, because if we could have afforded trailers for everybody, if we were making this movie on a different scale, I'm sure we probably would have, So
Absolutely. That's true. I think everything about it was so appropriate.
Penn almost didn't do the movie because he wasn't going to get a trailer.
Put a trailer in that office building. I'm not doing it. And I saw the movie back at Sundance, and then it was quite relevant. And of course, now with all the protests going on, it almost seems like it's giving answer to some of the things, the ambiguous requests that these protesters are making. Do you feel like it's able to inform what these people are going after or trying to speak for?
Personally, I don't really feel. Somebody was saying like, oh, you should screen the movie down in Zuccotti Park, and I don't really feel like this would be particularly satisfying to that faction of protesters, because it's not really about accountability or blame or raking anyone over the coals. It's really just an examination of the impact that this catastrophe had on these particular characters' lives.
Do you think there's a danger in giving empathy or making these kind of characters sympathetic when this sort of situation is going on, or is it important to humanize them?
I think they're human, and that's what's most important. And I think in a time when there are a lot of fingers being pointed, we all have to acknowledge it in order to move forward. We first have to acknowledge the commonality that is us all being human, and there were criminals and there was corruption in Wall Street, but there are criminals and corruption in every facet of human life, and there's a lot of criminals and corruption in the corporate world at large, So, and this is just one instance that is so obvious and blatant, so everybody gets excited and heated. But as far as the protesters go, I think they're largely very hopeful, peaceful, intelligent. They're just asking for the conversation, And I think a movie like this, in some way, appeals to that ambiguity, the sort of like, well, who knows who has the answers, but
risk management people go to bars too.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from this movie.